अस्सलाम वालेकुम। कम्युनिटी डिबेट का आज का प्रोग्राम लेके ह्यूस्टन से सजाद बरकी आपकी खिदमत में हाजिर है। हर हफ्ते हम आपके लिए एक नया सब्जेक्ट लेके और कुछ लोगों के साथ, अपने गेस्ट के साथ बातचीत करते हैं। आज हमने सोचा कि हम थोड़ा सा अपने प्रीवियस सब्जेक्ट से हट के एक नई बात शुरू करें, जिसमें हमारी यंगर जनरेशन जो है उनके ख़यालात जो हैं वो बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट हैं। कल्चरल आइडेंटिटी कि हम लोग यहाँ रहते हुए दो कल्चर्स में हमेशा फंसे रहते हैं। स्पेशली हमारे बच्चे जो कि पाकिस्तान से आए, यहाँ स्कूलों में गए, उन पे बहुत किस्म के प्रेशर्स, उनके रिलीजियस प्रेशर, उनके घर वालों का प्रेशर, स्कूल्स का, बैकग्राउंड का, और हाउ डू दे डील विद दीज डिफरेंट प्रेशर्स रिलेटिंग टू देयर कल्चर। रहना तो उन्होंने यहाँ पे है, स्कूल्स भी यहाँ के हैं, बट दे somehow seem to make it work। तो हमने आज एक थोड़ा सा हमें इशू हुआ, ह्यूस्टन में बड़ा सिवियर वेदर है और हमारे दो गेस्ट आज हमारे साथ स्टूडियो में पहुंच नहीं सके, बट वी स्टिल हैव टू वेरी कैपेबल पीपल विद अस और इनसे हम बातचीत करेंगे। आपका इनसे मैं तारुफ कराता चलूँ। सबसे पहले हमारे साथ हैं हसन जवाद। अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम।
हसन इज़ CPA और ये अपनी CPA प्रैक्टिस जो है ओन करते हैं शुगरलैंड में। ही इज़ बिन लिविंग हेयर फॉर 21 years, केम हेयर व्हेन ही वाज 10 years old फ्रॉम पाकिस्तान, और ही इज़ बिन अ CPA सिंस 2009। पहले कैलिफोर्निया में रहते थे और अब टेक्सास में हैं। लाइक दे से you get to Texas as soon as you can.
Exactly.
We also have Sabina Muhammad with us. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Sabina is also a CPA and she's a senior accounting consultant. She also came here when she was very young, been here for 28 years, and she's always lived in Texas. And she's another aspect of her जो मुझे बड़ा अच्छा लगा और इनसे हम बातचीत करेंगे. She's a counselor for a service-based youth group, a Muslim youth serving society. She went to the University of Texas and she's done her bachelor's and master's from the University of Texas. So both of you, welcome to Community Debate.
Thank you.
जैसे मैंने इंट्रोडक्शन में कहा, let me start with you, maybe आपसे सबीना बात करते हैं। कल्चरल डिफरेंसेस, कल्चरल आइडेंटिटी, या इसको आप कॉन्फ्लिक्ट कह लें। I'm sure when you guys went to school over here, you had pressures कि स्कूल में क्या करना है, घर में क्या करना है, अगर मस्जिद में जाएंगे तो वहाँ पे एक और किस्म का प्रेशर है। Did you guys feel there was a strong conflict growing up?
So I think every kid that grows up here, सबको ऐसा थोड़ा महसूस होता है कभी ना कभी। Some kids जब वो बहुत यंग होते हैं, some kids जब later। हम लोग जब बड़े हुए तो हमारी स्कूल में बहुत सारी minorities नहीं थी। फिर थोड़े ज़्यादा आते रहे और तभी हमारा थोड़ा confidence बढ़ा कि हमारे जैसे और हैं और हमें थोड़ा सा unique identity पैदा की, right? कि जो हम लोग we're Desi, we're Muslim, we're American, and they're not mutually exclusive options. मतलब हम तीनों एक साथ हो सकते हैं।
Yes.
और इसमें कोई problem नहीं है और जो हम हैं वो हैं, and that's जो confidence जो हमें मिला, especially seeing हमारे थोड़े से anybody that was a little bit older than us, और हमारे जैसे जितने भी आए बच्चे हमारे स्कूलों में and everything like that, उससे हमारा confidence
आपका,
so I think it was definitely something that we all went through at a young age.
Okay, well, Hassan, how about you? I mean, let me frame the same kind of question to you. कि growing up, going to school here, did you feel that conflict at times?
You do initially. फर्क पड़ता है। And हम लोग जब यहाँ पे आए, when I was 11 years old, right? तो inclusion in school, कि how do you show up first day, पहले दिन आओ, who do you make friends with, right? You have that barrier of English कि किससे बात करें, do we speak the right dialect, right? You have an accent, कुछ है. So it's a struggle you face day one.
Okay.
Day one, the way you dress, it's the kid feels it. Parents may not know it, but the kids feel it, right? So, of course, हुआ, बहुत हुआ, and we were 11 years old, so all I know is Urdu then, right? So I look for friends in school. Who do I associate with? Desis, right? People who are just like me, who can at least I can communicate with, sit at lunch table with somebody.
Yeah.
Right? It's hard to adjust initially, but you know, I felt it. Definitely, so did my brothers and sisters.
Okay.
Yes, they did. And over time, you learn.
You
to
make adjustments,
you
I'm
make
sure.
adjustments,
I
right?
think that's kind of what we want to talk about mostly today is कि किस तरह की adjustments जो हैं हमारी younger generation जो है उनको what kind of you know I'm sure they have to मैं नहीं कहना चाहता हूँ कि change their personality but they have to make an adjustment to their personality. There may be हम बहुत दफ़ा बात करते हैं कि हमारे बच्चों की एक personality घर पे होती है और एक personality बाहर होती है. Is that true to a certain extent?
I think हमने बहुत महसूस किया है ऐसे कि हमारे friends और हम लोग जब you know when we're at home you know we have to kind of listen to our parents and we go to school and we kind of all of a sudden become like different people and we're so confident and this and that लेकिन you know हमेशा ऐसे ही होता रहता है कि you're not really sure how to mesh the two.
हसान मैंने जैसे इनसे कहा कि लड़कियों के लिए तो मेरा ख्याल है कि और भी ज़्यादा डिफ़िकल्ट है बॉयज़ मेरा ख्याल थोड़ा सा कम प्रेशर है बॉयज़ पे कि द पेरेंट्स लेट यू डू मोर than they let girls do. तो but still I'm sure कि growing up आपके ज़रूर होगा कि हमारे कल्चर में हम ऐसा नहीं करते. अगर आपने किसी लड़कियों से दोस्ती करनी है तो नहीं हमारे यहाँ ऐसा नहीं होता. तो how did you balance those things?
Kids are smart.
They are.
They manage. They manage. You know. So, you know, as you said, it's correct, 100% to the dot. How I got treated, how versus how my sister was treated was a lot different. You know, but my parents, alhamdulillah, they were very supportive.
Okay.
You know, they wanted us to create our own identity, make friends.
Okay.
My dad was fond of us learning English.
Wonderful.
No matter what,
Yeah.
you have to learn English, and you cannot do that by just talking in Urdu. You know, so he forced us into situations कि भाई ये करना है, ये सीखना है. You know, आप मिलो, जुलो लोगों से. तो my sister on the other hand, of course, aesthetically जो हिजाब है वो नजर आता है. You know, if we're sitting here, people will point and say you're Muslim, right? Unless I say it, you know, या तो ये दाढ़ी starts growing out a little bit, they'll start assuming कि yes he is, right? But yours shows. So you have that in front of you where people already have made an assumption, right? लेकिन जैसे मेरा unless I say it, you know, they're not too sure.
Yeah.
Right?
But do you सबीना आपसे पूछूंगा क्योंकि ये हिजाब की बात हमने की. Do you feel there is a disadvantage in some way? And I don't mean to criticize it.
Right.
I'm looking at it from the point of view of an average American. आप स्कूल में जा रही हैं या काम पे जाती हैं आप and you're wearing hijab. Does that bring an added pressure?
I think it does to a certain degree. Actually, let me give you a little bit of background. So I started hijab 6 years ago during my last year of college. So school mein maine nahi pehna, right, obviously. And so, you know, I noticed the disconnect between the way people started approaching me, right? Muslims, non-Muslims, desis, non-desis, everybody, right?
I see.
Lekin what I always noticed is people were always, especially people that weren't exposed to as many Muslims, were always a little hesitant. And they weren't sure if I was going to even be able to speak English. Isko, you know, English aati hai ki nahi, कि आप कैसे बात करूं, कैसे, you know, उनको what's offensive, what's not. लेकिन there is a little bit of added pressure to answer your question, and but as soon as I start talking, just the change in their facial expression, जैसे इनका, you know, थोड़ा सा मुझे actually बहुत मजा आता है वो देखने में और वो सुनने में जैसे you know they kind of start transitioning के okay, you know, she's at my level.
Don't you feel like here I go, now I'm going to educate this guy?
Right, exactly. And every single time इसलिए actually I go out of my way. मैं plane में बैठती हूँ तो बाजू में जो भी बैठा है उससे बात करने लगती हूँ और actually मेरे डैडी पे गई हूँ सबसे बात करती हूँ. But I actually go out of my way to do that. And so I do feel a little bit added pressure. You know, I've switched jobs. I work in the client services industry, right? जो हम लोग clients के साथ हमेशा 4-5 महीनों में हम लोग नए client में जाते हैं. तो every time you have to prove yourself, you have to gain their confidence. So in that field, मैं हमेशा नए लोगों से मिलती हूँ और
Yeah.
हमेशा मौका मिलता है कि किसी से बात करूँ.
Very
So
good.
I do feel that added pressure sometimes more so than my peers. कि I need to prove myself.
Yeah.
लेकिन I think it's a blessing.
It is. It is. I mean, that's why we need to start talking about these things. That's
Right.
why we bring these subjects on
Yeah.
on our show. It's time, and looking at the political climate right now, it's more important to
Yeah.
discuss these issues. Or why we are talking to people like you, I'll tell you my motivation is that maybe younger people who are younger than you, who are maybe just going to middle school and high school, and they're feeling those pressures कि भाई मैं मेरे घर वाले ये कहते हैं लेकिन स्कूल में मुझे ये
Right,
करना है.
right.
Maybe they can get some advice from people like you. कि मैं, I wouldn't mind hearing a couple of incidents or stories or something to relate to that. कि भाई स्कूल में मेरे पेरेंट्स ने कहा था कि तुमने ये नहीं करना, लेकिन I was somehow able to get over it and not hurt anybody in the
Right.
process. क्योंकि another thing that I want to bring into is हम आजकल बात करते हैं, there's a conflict of not only cultures or conflict of religions,
Right.
the way it is shaping up to be. And that may be a serious question to all of us living here in the US and all over the world कि कल को ऐसी situation तो नहीं create होती कि there's a war of civilizations, But and address it, Hassan, in a way कि don't you think कि हम लोग Americans living here who came from abroad are the best क्या कहना चाहिए examples of how both these cultures can work?
Yeah.
It can work.
Yeah.
It does work.
Yeah.
If अगर ह्यूस्टन को आप देखें, अपनी पाकिस्तानी community या Muslim community in general, आप उसको देखें कि how we fit in, right? We are not leeches. We contribute
Yeah.
in every aspect. You take it from real estate, you take it accounting, financial, engineers,
Yeah.
management. Even we have CEOs, CFOs here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we can prove ourselves
Yeah.
by just our basically day-to-day
and
dealing.
I think, aren't you proving that in spite of the fact that, hey, I'm an immigrant?
Right. And that's exactly what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say here, is we are contributing,
Gee.
right? Now, the only thing is, we are, of course, I guess you could say a venue to show this to the world, that we are Muslims, we contribute, and we are positive impact to this society. But also we need to assimilate.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Not just group up into communities and just stay there. That has impact. It does.
Yeah.
Social, economical impact within our community. Lekin we live in a society.
Gee, talk a little bit about आप भी अगर कर सके, talk a little bit about this assimilation. That's what I like. That's
Right.
what I want to tell our younger generation, our parents,
Right.
कि कितना important है to assimilate.
बहुत important.
What advice you give to a little child or a parent कि भाई ये मत करो. Don't push your child in a certain direction. Because that in the long run, I think that's going to be one of the biggest hurdles that we have to overcome. कि हम अपने बच्चों को ऐसी पोजीशन में नहीं डाल दें कि वो हमारे से झूठ कहें आके. Don't put those kind of pressures on them.
Right.
Can you think of something like that the parents do?
I
Not your parents maybe, but I'm sure you have friends around you who.
I'm trying to think of a good example, but I can't off the top of my head. Like, on that topic, I think it's parents' job is very tough. Kids' job is really difficult now. I think abhi to middle school, high school jana is probably more difficult than jab hum log gaye the, right? It's a different environment. Everything is different, and they're facing more pressures. Lekin, I think that one of the main things that parents need to understand is कैसे बच्चों को समझाना कि कौन सी चीज़ें और हमारी values क्यों हैं, right? Just blindly following things कि हम लोग ऐसे नहीं करते बस ऐसे ही नहीं करते, right?
Yeah.
That's not because that doesn't resonate with the kids, right?
Okay.
उनको समझ में नहीं आएगा कि हम लोग को क्यों नहीं करना है.
Yeah.
तो if you instill that in them और उनको ठीक से समझाओ कि हम लोग ऐसी चीज़ें कर सकते हैं और ऐसी चीज़ें नहीं कर सकते because this, right?
Yeah.
And so when you put that in them, जब वो बाहर जाएंगे then parents को ये डर नहीं होगा कि पता नहीं कोई उल्टी सीधी चीज़ें में नहीं पड़ जाए, right? And I can understand why they have that pressures कि you know ऐसे लोगों से नहीं मिलो, लेकिन when you have that in them, the internal moral compass they say, then they will be able to navigate greater
They'll
society
be, yes.
To a more advanced way.
Very
right?
good, very good.
So I think that उनको जाने दो, you know, जितने भी gatherings हैं non-Muslims के साथ, non-Desis के साथ, जो भी है, but there's a barrier, right? You know, you shouldn't drink, don't smoke, things like that. But why? Right?
Okay, we'll come back to
I
that,
think
and
that's
those are
what-
important questions because you live in a society where these things are allowed. तो चलिए अब हमने लेनी है एक break. बड़ी interesting conversation चल रही है, and we'll come back and we'll talk about this subject a little more. We are back with community debate in Houston. आपने भी अगर कोई comment देना हो तो please write to us at communitydebate.go@gmail.com. You can also watch the program on Twitter and Facebook. तो चलिए कुछ बातें और करते हैं आज. Very nice guests that we have today. Both CPAs, by the way. हमने this interesting कि आज हम, you know, we were left with two people and both of them turned out to be very professional CPAs who are doing fantastic work in the city. इससे break से पहले हम बात कर रहे थे कि parents, what is it that कुछ चीज़ें तो हमें we understand कि हम we come from a background and a religion that there are some things that are forbidden in our religion, and I think it's kind of easy to explain to your children that don't drink, don't eat pork, don't do, you know, but then there are some gray areas जिसमें कि हमारे कुछ पेरेंट्स अलाउ करते हैं, कुछ नहीं अलाउ करते. Gray areas में I would think one of that would be, you know, the mingling of boys and girls. Should they, let's say, even if or you are on a sports team or something, should you be part of it or not? Going out for even school events together, allowed or not? And I'm sure that living here, आप जब living नहीं कहना चाहिए, going to that school or that जो आपके इर्द गिर्द के majority लोग हैं, they don't see anything wrong with it. But if you walk in there and say, I'm not allowed to do that, how do you deal with that?
It's a very good. Well, you know, of course, parents are positive. तो होना ज़रूरी है. It's 99% is parents' job. The kid's gonna do it.
Yeah.
I did it, right? So I know we had friends. लड़की हो या लड़का हो, we had all sorts of friends. We mingled. Outside of work, outside of school, we would go and hang out together.
Yeah.
You know, but when we came home, we couldn't take phone calls from them.
Ah.
You know, we were told them specifically not to call home.
Yeah.
There was no, actually, my parents never said, "Can call nigger," but it's like a feeling that I had that it should not be,
Yeah.
they shouldn't call.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to have that attention. I don't want to be the black sheep. Right? So, of course, as a kid, you go through the pressure, and, you know, when you have a set of groups now, you have to invite them at home too. Right? I don't know if you
I was going to say that. That's another hurdle. कि आपके, you have many friends.
Yeah.
And now you want to invite them home,
Right.
and your parents may not be too happy about girls inviting boys or boys
That's
inviting
right.
girls.
So initially, जब पहले हम आए यहाँ पे, so my parents were also adjusting. It was new to them too. They had never been here, so all they had seen is what they've heard or what people or their friends are talking about.
Yeah.
So we couldn't bring or call anybody home. But of course, as we grew up, we went to high school, went to colleges. They saw us in our graduations that we were taking pictures with not only Desis but with girls, with guys. We were close with our teachers. The teachers are hugging us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or the friends are hugging each other.
Yeah.
So that initially you feel like my parents are watching.
Yeah.
Oh my God! But then they learn to adjust too.
Okay.
So then you invite some of them over. I have done that
Yeah.
at my house,
Yeah.
and it's opened up a lot of things that we now get invited to their house. And the religion has not stopped people from coming to do barbecues in our backyard. You know, so
So in the process, I would say that you're also training your parents,
you have to,
right?
Yeah.
You have to. But as a kid, you don't have that, you know,
Yeah.
audacity to do that, right? But as you grow, they
Yeah.
watch you, and they're also molding. They're
Uh-huh.
learning.
Yeah.
It's an environment that they're seeing it happen live,
Yeah.
right? They have restrictions about smoking, drinking, right? Some parents do.
Yeah.
Some parents don't care, right?
Yeah.
I have a set of friends who do, set of friends who don't.
Yeah.
You know, but now is it okay? Why can I not hang out with them?
Yeah.
Just because they might be a bad influence. But if you know, we have had this discussion at home, where my parents tell you have raised me to a point where I make my decisions.
Yeah.
So either you leave me accountable and trust me that I will follow suit.
Yeah.
And if I make mistakes down the road, be it.
Yeah, that brings me to another point, to the next kind of thing. And you get out of school, or you're in the last years of your school, and you're beginning to choose a profession. You're beginning to choose your identity and know, where do I want to go with my life? What do I want to do? Hamare यहाँ in our culture, there's a lot of pressure of parents, relatives, बड़ों का कि इसको डॉक्टर बनाना है, इसको इंजीनियर बनाना है, इसको सीपीए कम ही बनाते हैं वैसे.
There's a story behind it.
Yeah, अच्छा. So did you feel that, did you choose to be a CPA, or did somebody kind of put you in that direction?
So my dad, I think जब हम लोग मैं और मेरी बहन college में थे, he was like, "Are you sure you guys don't want to be doctors?" And we're like, "Yes, we're sure." हमारे we did well in school and everything, but बस वो direction नहीं जाना था, right? So we had some crossroads between what we were choosing, and my sister and I both chose business. And my dad is alhamdulillah very, very supportive. He was like, उन्होंने भी सीखा है जिंदगी में कि you will not, if you don't enjoy your work, you're not going to be happy.
Yeah.
So he was like, become a CPA if it will make you happy.
Okay.
So I think my parents, alhamdulillah, are very progressive in that sense. And so I chose that because that was the direction I wanted to go
Okay.
into. लेकिन हमेशा pressure होता है कि why are you choosing this versus
Yeah.
that? And I think that as a society, especially the degree to which we need to start expanding, and the importance of that is more now. So, if your kid wants to go into media or film, or if your kid wants to go into journalism or
Yeah.
public policy
Yeah.
or communication, these things are, if that makes them happy and they can support themselves with that, I think our parents should be very supportive of that, and especially because it's important to have minorities in those fields.
Sabina was talking about कि किस तरह choice of profession. I know that being a father, now I know that I was always pushing my son to go into a certain direction, and he didn't. He chose his own way. तो do you think कि ये सिर्फ हमारे culture में ज़्यादा है, or do you feel like all parents over here do that?
Actually, believe it or not, it's not just our culture. Of course, हमें feel होता है क्योंकि we are in this community, right?
Okay.
All of my siblings are doctors.
Okay.
And I turned out to be the black sheep.
Oh wow.
And my dad even made me apply to Stanford,
Yeah.
but I said no way. I'm business minded. That's all I want to do. So, but and of course, and he has a respect for CPAs. So he was okay with it.
Yeah.
But I used to say I was going to be a cardiologist or dinner table since I was 10 up till 18.
Oh wow.
But now the questions have come up now after being 10, 11 years into the career in the profession.
Yeah.
I ask the same questions to others, like why did you pick CPA? Would you do something different? And quite honestly, of course CPAs, a lot of different passion driven. Some of them love accounting, they're debit and credit people.
Yeah.
But some of them became for true passion here, but some were also imposed on by the same parents. We have Korean friends who have the same thing.
I see. Okay.
It's has to do with immigrants who came here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to follow with why Americans also have the same thing. They come here and they've seen who is successful,
Yeah.
right? So they want to make sure their kids they've seen it from their friends or they've seen in society that these are professions that are respected, they make money, and these guys will, we can leave them here and not worry about them.
Yeah.
So they choose that
Yeah.
for them, and it's imposed on them. And that is true. But to an extent, Americans family do the same
They
thing.
do it.
I have friends who work alongside with me and my brothers who are doctors, and it's just because it's a tradition. My father's a doctor, my mother's a doctor. Guess
So
what?
I'm a
I'm a
doctor.
doctor.
Yeah.
So it's our
Yeah.
culture pushes it to the extreme.
Yeah.
Some of it for its economical reason. And not jokingly say it, but a lot of this has to, and I've felt it. It's also marital reasons, but another topic. But it's a lot of
I think we'll touch on that topic also a little
Because
bit.
education
I do wanna,
in general.
Gee, I also wanted to bring in a little bit of the subject of interracial marriages or interreligious marriages. Maybe we can put it that way. 'Cause that's another issue that we all struggle with. Living here in the U.S., I think other cultures, again, I may be wrong, but I think they have adjusted a whole lot better to this than we have. हम अभी भी बड़े ही ज़्यादा strict हैं on our kids getting married to their own people. We don't allow them कि अगर कोई और मज़हब तो और भी ज़्यादा difficulty हो जाती है, even another country. How can we overcome that? Or is it important to overcome that?
I'm really glad you brought that up. I mean, I feel very strongly about this, and at the end of the day, you're right. जितने भी different cultures हैं, उन्होंने थोड़ा ज़्यादा adjust किया है. You'll see more interracial couples, and different, especially depending on whether or not they're immigrants or not. But I think that it's very important, especially हमारा religion थोड़ा अलग सा है, लेकिन if they're so we can start with that, right? If they're Muslim, then what's the problem, right?
Yeah.
Or I think our older generation and even our generation is adjusting to that as it goes. So if you think like when we were kids 15 years ago, 20 years ago, you wouldn't have seen a Desi person marrying a black person,
Yes.
right? Lekin, alhamdulillah, I've seen couples like that. I mean, I have friends who married a black guy that was Muslim. That's perfectly fine. What's wrong with that? And so, we're adjusting a little bit to that. And then inter-religion, I mean, I've seen some of my friends, one of my friend's brothers married a white woman, and they're fine, they're happy. And so I think that जो values हैं, वो line up होनी चाहिए.
Values भी और उसके साथ साथ I think when we've made the move, and one of the reasons, in my opinion, जो हम इतनी difficulty हमें होती है इस subject के साथ is because we all come from countries where there was only one race.
Right.
We didn't have a choice. We didn't have many races that we could pick this one or that one or that one. So we've never been trained. Okay, there can be other people also. Yeah, religions be. Coming from Pakistan, 95 or 99% of Pakistan is Muslim. So we never thought कि कोई और किसी मज़हब के कोई शादी करेगा जाके. But at the same time, यहाँ पे जब हम आ जाते हैं, and we have now walked into what we call a melting pot. So things have to change now. और इसके साथ I think आपकी generation I think is dealing a whole lot better than my generation. You guys are more comfortable with interreligious, all kinds of relationships. We still struggle. What do you think?
it's going to
And it will happen.
रहेगा,
होगा ही.
right? So, but this will phase out. Second generation, third generation, you can see that already in the Asian community.
Okay.
Where they're third generation here.
Yeah.
Chinese, Asians,
Yeah.
right? They coexist, right? So initially, of course, my parents, उनके लिए difficult है, बहुत difficult है. It's black and white for them.
Yeah.
They've already decided that this is the way we live, right? So this next generation, which is us, where we are now sliding in.
Yeah.
We like what we see. We like to be part of it. right? We know what's good for us, what's not good for us.
Yeah.
लेकिन अब क्या है, not us, perhaps not all the way, but it's going to phase out into the third generation who's going to be here, which I see that my nephews and nieces, you know, they have different worries than we
Yeah.
did. They're worried about different things. We were worried about different things.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
So the
becoming
impact-
accepting.
So ultimately, I think we safe to say that the impact of this culture, the American culture, is already upon us, whether
Yes.
we like it or we don't.
It is.
Right, right.
We're living
We
it.
better start adjusting to it.
We're living
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I think even our older generation is slowly adopting, right? Like kind of like I said, now we're seeing more and more interracial marriages where, you know, it would have been the talk of the town if somebody married outside of their race,
Yeah.
where that's happening almost every few months now,
Yeah.
you know? So it's like, ab to ye thori itni bhi badi baat nahi hai jitni pehli thi, right?
Yes, very good.
So
चले
I think-
मैं विल कम बैक हमने वी नीड टू टेक अ ब्रेक और इस ब्रेक के बाद विल ट्राई एंड रैप अप एंड कुछ और बातें भी करेंगे कि यू नो किस तरह हम इसको वी कैन मेक दिस बेटर फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस। आप देख रहे हैं हमारा प्रोग्राम कम्युनिटी डिबेट इन ह्यूस्टन और हमारा ईमेल अगर आपने भी कमेंट देना हो तो इट्स communitydebate.geo@gmail.com। You can also access us on Facebook and Twitter। देखते रहिए कम्युनिटी डिबेट। वेलकम बैक टू कम्युनिटी डिबेट इन ह्यूस्टन। हम आज कल्चरल इश्यूज पे बात कर रहे हैं एंड वी हैव आवर गेस्ट, वी हैव हसन जवाद विद अस एंड वी हैव सबीना मोहम्मद। आई वांट टू टच ऑन अनदर सब्जेक्ट, और अनदर सब्जेक्ट नहीं, इसी के तरीके से किस्म का कि हम देखते हैं कि हमारे यहाँ हमारे कल्चर में कह लें या उसका एक रिलीजियस इन्फ्लुएंस भी है, मे बी राइट और रॉन्ग। We feel like, or others see it this way, that we are more intolerant, we are more extremist. Although I'm sure it will change, and it is changing as we go along. Do you feel like, as a people, we are more intolerant and extremist?
I think it's a matter of understanding the social values that we have, right? So I think what happens is that हम लोग थोड़ा सा confuse कर लेते हैं कि whether or not just because I don't want to do something does that mean others shouldn't be allowed to, right? And जो हमारा religion है, it's very accepting, right? कि जो you know even in the old times, बहुत सारे religions एक साथ रहते थे,
Yeah.
and there was nothing wrong with that,
Coexistence.
right? Coexistence. And so अभी हम लोग ऐसे क्यों बनाए कि we should always be, everybody should be the same,
Yeah.
right? There,
Yeah.
it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
So I
But don't
think
you, isn't that kind of a strain that we see हमारी teachings में या हमारी आजकल मसाजिद में भी हम किसी तरह से at a certain level हम ये देखते हैं कि kids are being told that hey, yours is the best and everybody has to be like this. Have you felt that?
Oh yeah, we actually just about last week or so we were talking about it. सब अपने दोस्तों के बीच में कि you know as Islam we want to convert everybody,
Yeah.
100% of the world to Islam, you know, whereas others don't do that,
Yeah.
right? So if we feel like अगर किसी को change करना है, especially turnover, right? They're gonna take it the hard way. It's gonna be hard pushing against force.
Yeah.
तो हम चाहते हैं कि सब मुसलमान हो जाए, right? So you see that, yeah. But in that context, it may make you feel कि भाई थोड़ा सा ये force है, extremism is. I want to be careful using that word because I don't think Islam is extremist or intolerant.
I'm not saying that maybe I didn't phrase it properly.
It's the wording.
It's when I say extremism, I think I'm talking not about Islam.
Got it.
I'm talking about Muslims.
Right.
So we just
There's a
don't want-
differentiation.
There's a difference.
yeah. So that's in that context. I just like to clarify, ना
Yeah.
कि हम लोग force से we want to change everybody,
जी.
right? Either good or bad,
Yeah.
right? So of course people take it the wrong way. It's hard for them to change. So long story short, you feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think ये कमी जो है वो इस्लाम में नहीं है, like you said, लेकिन हमारे में, right? तो I think that's the nature we as Desis generally have a very strong personality, right? कि तुम ऐसे क्यों पहनी हो, ये ऐसे क्यों पहनी हो, you know, ऐसे ही पहनना चाहिए, right? That doesn't make any sense. There's a whole world of people. They're going to dress differently. They're going to act differently. It doesn't mean they
They're
can't
going to
fold.
eat differently.
Right, and so that doesn't mean that they can't be within the fold of Islam, right? And so I do think that as a culture, we have taken something beautiful and almost imposed it on people, whereas that's not even the way it originated, right?
Let me
And
ask
so-
you this. Again, extremism nahi hai ye, but I kind of want to touch on this. A very strong यहाँ पे American culture में, there's a very strong tradition of a high school graduation and a high school क्या कहते हैं उसको आप, the dance and
Prom.
the prom. I've seen so many parents struggling with that. Why? Don't you think we can allow our kids to be part of a prom and not feel threatened in any way?
If you trust them, let them go.
Yeah.
You know, trust them that you've done the right things.
Yeah.
Okay, they'll make the right decision. That only tells them that you don't trust them. So whatever you've taught them is not right.
Yeah.
Either in जो आपने सिखाया उसको,
Yeah.
तो इतना तो होना चाहिए अपने बच्चे पे यकीन कि यार
Yeah.
ये he'll live through it.
Yeah.
Let him go.
Yeah.
So
And,
क्या
and,
होगा?
that particular event has value.
Yeah,
It is part of the culture that he's brought up in,
right.
and he wants to be a part of that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it kind of goes back to what I said is, right, you said, as long as you instill those values, like, and I think that's the thing, right, is that looking back, I'm like, it really wasn't a big deal. But it was a big deal for me then, right? And so you have to remember to put yourself in the kids' shoes, right? कि सब लोग कर रहे हैं और हम एक जो हैं जो नहीं. And I think that the more we kind of especially now in the past 10 or 15 years, this sense of being individual, being different is almost cool, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm the one person that's not doing it. Now I'm cool. लेकिन हमारे time पे ये था ही नहीं, right?
अच्छा.
It's like everybody wanted to assimilate. And so there's a difference in that, but I do agree, right? Is going with the right group of people, going with the right, and especially, you know, I remember when I was a senior and सब लोग dates ढूंढ रहे थे and everybody was like, who am I going to go with? Who am I? And I was like, I don't need to go in with anybody. Why? Right?
Yeah.
And everybody thought that was weird. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry you don't understand why that's how I feel, but that's how I feel, and I don't find the need to change that.
Hassan, let me get your response on the prom thing.
I tell you what, ये struggle आज है.
अच्छा.
Reason why? Our parents are not chaperones there.
Yes.
Language barrier है,
Yeah.
तो they're not participated in high school. वहाँ पे सिर्फ बच्चे ही नहीं होते, parents or teachers भी present होते हैं.
Yes.
They're called chaperones.
Chaperones, yeah.
So maybe today my parents didn't go, but when I have it, I would like to be the chaperone.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
So if you are going to watch
Yeah.
from the sidelines, let them enjoy it.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was going to add is that आप पूरी जिंदगी अपने बच्चों को बचा नहीं सकेंगे, right? Eventually they're going to go.
Yes.
Whether it's if it's not in high school, if you protect them, it's going to be in college. It's going to be when they work. It's going to be at some point, right?
जी.
और हमने ये हमेशा देखा है, हमने, you know, in the networks that we have, I'm sure you have, is that if the kids that were very sheltered when they were in high school, all of a sudden college, they just like go crazy, right? Or all of a sudden when they leave home, they go crazy, right? So they're going to reach that crossroads,
Yeah.
you know, and so I remember, you know, you know, my dad was always very much about me and my sister being empowered. And as soon as you're 16, I want you to start driving. I want you to start learning this, learn that as early,
Yeah.
right? And they exposed us to different types of people. They exposed us to different types of things ताकि हम लोग कोई चीज़ हमें ज़्यादा परेशान नहीं करे.
Yeah,
right?
you don't want to
And so-
surprise,
Exactly.
sudden surprise कि जी ये तो मैंने तो कभी ये देखा ही नहीं था, ये क्या हो
Right.
गया? And
And
that
then-
happens in college once
Yeah.
you leave home.
Yeah, and that's a totally different thing, right?
Yeah.
So of course we're all sheltered to some degree,
Yeah.
right? But and especially in college, especially if they move away.
Yeah. Chale,
so-
before we, you know, we getting kind of to the end of our program, I wanted to bring the discussion to a little bit of a different level. कि जो when we grow up over here, Pakistanis, Muslims, we are trained where our religion is not just a religion, we call it a way of life. It affects every part of our life in every way. And that's how our parents teach us, that's how our masajid and schools, Islamic schools teach us. But living here in this country, यहाँ पे we are very, right from day one in your schools you're taught there's a separation between religion and state. The religion doesn't belong in the affairs of the state. There is a conflict. Have you guys ever felt that that conflict was a hurdle in some way? कि
I don't know if you feel this when you're working, but I remember when I was in corporate, they would ask us, do you celebrate Christmas? You know, I say, this is how I would respond it, and I learned to respond this. I say, yeah, remember that 6 months ago I took a day off for Eid? That's when our Christmas was. It's just
Yeah,
timing
I see.
difference.
Okay.
You know, so a lot of course you see it. They,
Yeah.
oh, do you do Easter? Right? Say, yeah, we do Easter, but ours is different timing. It's they are not going to take the time to investigate what
Yeah.
was Eid, what was not. So,
Yeah.
but they want to know are we the same, right?
Mhm.
So hota hai.
Yeah.
It's fact. It's present.
Yeah.
You know, that's why most people don't talk about religion. But when I take a day off or I explain it to them, now people know
Yeah.
that who we are.
Yeah.
As in our firm itself, the joint building, we have a Christmas party, right? And they asked me first, do you celebrate? Would be okay? I said, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
You know, I have to take the initiative.
Yes.
You know, I am the minority here.
Yes.
I have to blend in. They don't have to come participate in mine. I have to. And once I do, they do the same.
Very good.
Right?
I think
So
that's a great attitude.
You have
Yeah.
to. You have to go talk to your neighbors. Say hi.
Yeah.
Say Merry Christmas to them. There's nothing wrong. Some people are offended by why do we even have to say it? But you have to say it.
Yeah.
And participate in them. Let them know that you acknowledge that they have a
And
celebration.
you're participating in their happiness.
That's right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Right.
Have you celebrated Christmas? Have you
So I think that that's one important
Thanksgiving?
thing.
I've known some people who even Thanksgiving they're like, oh, it's not a Muslim holiday. We can't do this.
When it's not even religious
It's not
oriented,
even
right?
religious.
No, I think, and that's the thing, right? That's the whole point of the pluralistic society, right? कि, उनकी खुशियों हम लोग भी पाते हैं, right?
जी.
So if they're celebrating anything, you don't have to all of a sudden start going to church, right? You can just say like, I hope you have a great holiday. I hope you have a great Christmas. And why don't you tell me more about it? And I can tell you about Eid, right? Just like you said. And so I think that when you have that sort of discussion about whether or not certain things, what the common ground is, right? You know, a lot of people don't understand that we believe in Jesus and all these things.
Yeah.
Bring up what's common, because what's common is far greater than what's different.
Yes.
So I think that's what I try to focus on is with Jews we believe this with the story of Moses, right? Jesus, and so all these things.
And not only that, I think even to a certain extent, हमारे काम में या even in our politics, you know, हमारा point of view is usually tainted to a certain extent with our religious background. जबकि यहाँ पे when they look at things like this, religion supposed to. Although I think it's very rapidly creeping in now, but it is supposed to be separate from these affairs of the state.
Right.
Right.
तो उसमें मुझे कभी ऐसे फील होता है कि जैसे हम लोग जो है ना we are not as comfortable in leaderships and in politics and things like this because हम अपना मज़हब को अपने बाकी अफेयर्स से सेपरेट नहीं कर सकते हैं.
Well, I think that your value set is जो आप हैं, it's a factor, it's a result of your culture, your religion, everything, and that's not different from anybody else, right? So if you look at other groups, they are who they are because of maybe their Christian background or whatever, right? And so that's how they gain their opinions. Whether or not they're clearly stated in our legislation and things like that, that's different.
Chaliye, before I finish up, quick question to both of you. Do you think in the long run we'll be able to sustain both cultures, or will it finally just melt pot into one?
I think we're going to derive new identities, right? So I don't think it's going to go one way or the other.
I see. Okay.
I think that especially now there's a trend of things that are foreign or things that are different being cooler almost, right? For lack of a better word. So creating a cultural fusion almost, right? And that fusion is going to go in so many different directions based on the different influences.
Wonderful. How about you, Hassan?
I believe that sooner or later it's going to start bleeding and phasing out, right? But I like to, just based on my opinion, is look at the Chinese community who's been here 3, 4, 5, 6 generations, right? And if you look at them, we are no different than them, right? In every aspect. Asians, we're different. We're immigrants, and now we're here. We're first generation, second generation. We're in that phase, right? They have third, fourth generation, which is secluded. Then they're immigrants that come in. Sooner or later, we're going to come to that same point where we'll have third, fourth generation, which will not feel comfortable mingling with another subset of Muslims who just come, right? So they have separation. But I believe our elders, and that is, today is you, my parents, our elders in our community, who have the glue that they gotta put in an effort to keep it together. And then it's gonna have to be us to make sure we keep it together, and that's something that community provides. So initiatives like what you are doing with the youth, right? Those kind of things are glues that will keep us together. But if you look at like-minded people who've been here 100 years more than us, right? How they have separated. They don't have the same rituals. They don't have same traditions. So we have to study them and see, hey, what can we learn from them? And us, they have a very strong religion background.
Very good. And I think the word that kind of got to me was fusion. I think ultimately that's where we are all going.
Right.
Well, thank you so much, both of you, for being part of this show today.
Thank you for inviting us.
Enjoyed having you here.
Thank you.
और आपने सुना हमारा आज का ये segment about culture differences, cultural issues, growing up over here. और हम समझते हैं कि if we keep focusing on our children a little more, inshallah, our children will become strong Americans. Inshallah. They will keep their culture. They will learn from the other culture, and we'll all have them as productive Americans when they grow up. आपको ईमेल एक दफ़ा फिर अपना बता दें, communitydebate.geo@gmail.com. इंशाल्लाह अगले हफ्ते एक नए सब्जेक्ट के साथ फिर हाज़िर होंगे. तब तक के लिए खुदा हाफिज़.